I do think there's probably a handful of people listening that think it's just cysts. I literally thought you had to have cysts before a week ago to actually have it.
I'm sure 90% of the population did.
It
was in the name.
It's nuts. It was in the name.
You're listening to The Pelvic Freak Show
with your hosts, Amanda Neary and Hannah Meyer. Hey, Pelvic Freaks. Welcome back to another episode of The Pelvic Freak Show.
Where you're freaks for us and we're freaks for your pelvis, baby.
And welcome to our new podcast studio. Are you kidding me?
You actually threw me off because I thought you were going to, that was like the same way you intro a guest.
No, literally, that is.
No, it is. I was like, wait, wrong script, bro.
The
Just
studio
kidding. We don't use scripts.
Is a guest.
No, our new studio, guys. I know these are bland white walls / gray walls behind us. They're giving millennial gray. Mm-hmm. But what you don't really see right now is that we have really bright red chairs.
Yeah.
And
well,
what
and
else?
Also, we're going to do stuff with the walls.
And we're going to do stuff back. Don't worry about that. And then also what you don't see right now is that we have a pink fridge. A vintage pink fridge.
Yeah, it's quite good. And if you want to see it, you should go on our Instagram and make sure you're following us because we post our studio updates on Instagram and TikTok.
And we're updating our process on designing our studio. And we have so many cool prints and pictures that we're going to have on this wall over here to my left. We're going to have curtains behind us, very giving whimsy.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like a real podcast studio. I'm so excited.
I mean, frivolity.
The frivolity of it all.
Yep.
Okay, enough about that. We have to address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Guys, I got hair extensions.
Oh, that. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, we do have to talk about that.
Hannah's already bored because it's been a few weeks.
No, I like it. I will always talk about your hair extensions. We just made Amanda, and if you guys haven't played Tamagotchi Life, of course I'm playing that, so I'm going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Tamagotchi Dream Life. I made Amanda a me character, and has long curly hair extensions in it.
Yeah, I was so torn for so long on K-tips because I have curly hair and I would wear it curly and straight, and I knew getting straight K-tips wasn't an option because my hair is curly. But getting curly hair K-tips felt like it was locking me into the curly bucket, and then I kind of switched to the curly bucket all the way anyway. And I don't even like my hair straight that much right now, so I was like, let's lean in and try them, and I'm literally obsessed.
Can you straighten them or no?
Yeah, you can get blowouts and stuff.
Okay, nice.
I might try one just to see it at some point.
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah. Probably not over the summer, though. Maybe in the fall. It's just so much upkeep with straight hair in the summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally love it. She matched my curl pattern perfectly, my color perfectly. It's honestly changed my life so far. I highly recommend.
I highly recommend changing your life.
Are you okay?
Guys, it's actually 9:30 at night.
Yeah, it's already been a day and we are doing this late at night.
For you pelvic freaks.
But you moved into this apartment where we have our new studio.
I love my new apartment.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like a home.
I pretty much spent the entire January through April complaining and focused on moving into my new apartment. And that was all I did with my free time.
Yeah, you were pretty focused. You were locked in.
No, I couldn't do anything else actually.
Yeah.
Other than stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And working. That's it.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I'm so happy I'm finally moved in, and it feels like I have a home now versus living out of, was so done with the studio apartment life.
Yeah.
And if you're still living in a studio apartment, don't worry about it. I'm there with you. I loved it for my time, but like I grew out of it. I needed to move on. Mm-hmm. So it's nice having space.
It wasn't your time anymore.
We have space, and I have extra space for this podcast room.
Yeah. And it's so cute, and we're going to love it.
So yeah, this episode and our next episode is going to be barren walls. But then after that, it's going to be, I think it's going to be finished.
Yeah, I think so
It's going to be a finished pod studio. Mm-hmm. So this is exciting. It'll be like perfect in time hopefully it'll be in time for our 100th anniversary special.
Oh, we got to plan
nice.
something for that.
Yeah, we do have to plan something for that.
I'm so excited.
We're going to plan it. We're going to plan it right after this episode.
Perfect. We'll have it ready for next week even.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So we're going to actually switch gears and talk about something really freaking serious, but also so good. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about how PCOS was renamed freaking finally to PMOS. And if you don't know what those conditions mean, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome is now Polyendocrine Metabolic Ovarian Syndrome. And it's to better encompass what PMOS really does to the body and how we identify it in the body. And we're taking the emphasis off the need for cysts to be present for this condition to be taken seriously, essentially. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, and we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If that wasn't a good enough summary for you freaks, then you're going to get more summaries.
Don't worry. We're going to talk about it the whole episode.
Can you talk about your experience with this?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I definitely will, because when I read this headline, and I think you sent it to me, and that was the first time I actually saw the news, and I went through the slides, and it was like an aha moment, but also I was so pissed off.
No, literally my first reaction, and this is on me, I was like, why didn't you get it right the first time? Literally my brain was
literally. Why did it take so long?
Yay. I was like, okay, and why didn't you get it right the first time?
And why did it take so long?
No, for real.
But that's a whole nother conversation, which we'll get to. In my case, I learned new things about PMOS in the past week, because I was always told I don't have it. But I was actually told I have PCOS-ism at one point, because I had like almost every identifier. I didn't do fertility testing at the time, so we didn't know about that. I just didn't have cysts. My ultrasound was negative, but I had all the symptoms to the point where they scanned me for it, and then they said, nope, you don't have PCOS. Like, we could just try a different birth control. And that was the treatment, and it never worked for me. I was like holding on to stubborn weight. My skin was breaking out. My hair started shedding, like all post-COVID kind of, like in that era. And I think it was like a high stress time, because now I know that high stress times can trigger PCOS, PMOS, and like grad school, toxic relationships, pandemic, like all of that. The timing kind of made sense for me to start experiencing those symptoms. And it's also a common time for women to get diagnosed. So I remember going to specialists, going to functional medicine, doing blood work, and the only doctors that actually even acknowledged that it was probably a hormonal endocrine thing were the functional medicine team, where they did deeper blood work. And my gynos, I had 2 different ones at the time, were very dismissive, which I hate to say, because I actually really liked my gyno that I saw, but she just didn't help me with like this specific issue. And because the scan was negative, like it never got escalated or taken seriously.
That's honestly, I'm going to clip that and quote that shit, because that's so real, and so many people can relate to that.
Yeah. And then to see a frickin' slide after the title change saying people have been not diagnosing it because people don't need cysts to diagnose PCOS. And I'm like, not only was the name wrong, but why were they misdiagnosing? Like, why didn't the people diagnosing it know that you didn't have to have cysts? And of course, like, that's why they ended up changing it. But like, that's so not hard to get right. Yeah, I agree. I'm pissed off.
No, I felt like I was being such a Debbie Downer. Also, I want to know where that saying came from.
A Debbie Downer. Oh, yeah, we should look that up.
We should look it up. I felt like I was being a Deborah Downer, but it's real. That's exactly how I felt. And I hope that all of you guys, I mean, who knows what your guys' Instagram feeds look like, but our Instagram feeds are literally like 100% like women's healthcare, pelvic healthcare, like sex content, vibrators, whatever. Like it's everything. So anytime something happens, I feel like I know about it within 5 minutes because it's on my social media platform, and that's my scroll. I don't even scroll on my own Instagram anymore. I literally just scroll for like news. So And then I check my sources because I'm a doctor. Anyways.
Yeah. And even like I'm looking at one of these articles that we're referencing for this episode, and even just the statistic that this impacts 1 in 8, and knowing that like I'm someone that I'm sure if I go back, I'm going to get diagnosed with PMOS. And I'm like you said, I'm a doctor. I know my body. I knew something was off, and I still couldn't get this diagnosis. Like, do you really think that number is 1 in 8? Like, that is so bullshit.
For real. And this is like a whole other thing on like evidence-based research. The whole argue for evidence-based research, it's great, don't get me wrong, but research is constantly changing too.
Yeah.
Which is great, which is a huge thing to point out.
Well, and also worth pointing out, research is corrupt right now.
Yeah.
You can't get research funding for things that are studying diversity or women. Like, it's hard to actually get research in this area right now.
So we should be snapping actually at this, but we're also annoyed.
No, I will say my first reaction was positive because for me, I was like, oh, I feel validated.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women probably read that and experienced that, but yeah, and then the afterthought is like, why the fuck did it take so long? I immediately started seeing posts like, okay, endometriosis next. Like, the fact that there's a running list of things that need to be changed in women's healthcare is wild.
Interstitial cystitis,
yes,
is another huge one.
Big one. Because
that name, I'm waiting for that because I saw another gynecologist talk about this actually. Because even remember our episode with Callie, the bladder dietitian, talking about IC. The name interstitial cystitis like really does, I mean, this isn't what we're talking about today, but we talked about in the episode how like so much of it is nervous system regulation and like regulating the nervous system. But people are in here getting bladder installations and things like that because they're so focused on the name. Interstitial cystitis is such a scary, like dooming name when there's people out here getting relief from just like nervous system regulation, pelvic floor therapy. Anyways, that's my rant on that.
Yes.
Back to PMOS. I know that's not the topic, but
no, I think it's a good sidebar because it just shows you how it's all related.
Yeah. So it is exciting. And I was just being bitchy earlier saying it. I do get excited. Anytime I see new women's health research, I get excited first, but anyways, no, I did want to read this.
Yeah.
Quote from this like research article, and I'll link it in the show notes. If you guys want to reference this article, it dropped May 12th, 2026. So
recent.
The term PCOS is inaccurate, implying pathological ovarian cysts, obscuring diverse endocrine and metabolic features, and contributing to delayed diagnosis, fragmented care, and stigma. Period.
Throwing stigma in there is really good.
Yeah. It's cool to, I mean, obviously this is huge. But also I think it's all about too, the power of a diagnosis that so many people have missed out on, because I mean, this is similar to endometriosis, but I can't relate to this because I don't have PMOS or endo or any of these kind of conditions. But even just like how I can relate, if I can help describe my experience with the ADHD diagnosis, like I've lived my whole life functioning how I can function, but then receiving the diagnosis of ADHD and being like, oh, this makes sense. Even though like, and having the knowledge of that for my mental health and being able to change things according to that diagnosis that I've worked for other people and learning about other people's experiences, I feel like that's going to help it happen to a lot of people getting diagnosed with PMOS. If that makes sense. Just like let's say you've been functional up until this point, you've been figuring it out, but the power of being like, oh, I have PMOS. That's what this is. That's why this is happening. And then the strength in that is huge.
Well, even like the way I move through the world is I'm always in the back of my head thinking like, why does this advice that people use for PCOS work for me? But I don't have it. What the fuck do I have?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, a lot of people can relate to that feeling with whatever their condition is, where it's like, I needed to like have that because it's not, there's this new argument, which is starting to piss me off actually, that like the diagnosis doesn't matter, right? Like treat, like people are being overdiagnosed, whatever. In a for-profit healthcare system, your diagnosis does matter. Oh, yeah. Because if they don't bill it a certain way because it's for PMOS, it's just because you want it, right? Like you want this medication to try it. So it's elective. So your insurance isn't going to cover it. But no, you actually have a condition that this medication is going to help you with. And now your insurance might cover it. That's access to care. So getting properly diagnosed is actually really essential. Even if you choose not to get diagnosed, this is important.
Dude, I could go on a tangent about that.
Literally.
I mean, it's with ADHD, but I've heard of that my entire life. Everyone has ADHD. You don't have it. You're just...
Yeah, OCD too.
You're just a Gemini. No, bro. Like, I actually have it, and the power it's given me, just being able to acknowledge it and be like, yep, I do have this. Yes, a lot of people have it, but that's just showing like the mental health awareness that we have nowadays compared to even just 5-10 years ago, especially after the pandemic. For example, same thing is happening with women's health. Like, you guys, my go-to example is endo on average takes 10 years to get diagnosed. I'm sure PCOS is fairly the same amount of years. But that's so many people living with these symptoms that are not getting the proper care for what they need. Like what Amanda said, whether it's insurance isn't covering it, whether they're having to pay out of pocket for services to try to find care that works for them, or, you know, because there's so many providers that you can see. Urogyn, gynecologist, urologist, pelvic floor PT, acupuncture, chiro. Like you can go so many routes within one diagnosis. So when you don't have the name for something and you're just trying to figure it out on your own, it's so confusing and you can feel really lost. So even just saying like, oh, PMOS, and then being able to compare to your experience to people online is huge.
Yeah. And it's access to care. It's also not trusting care, right? Because now you've been to doctors that have told you one thing and you can't trust them anymore because they gaslight you, or you don't feel like you were heard in that setting. So yeah, I think the medical gaslighting and people seeing a million different providers and not trusting medical care, like it all kind of stems from this issue, right? Like there's another side to that. But I think the vast majority of people are trying to trust medical care, at least at first, right? No one just wants to be like, no, doctors don't know anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not shitting on doctors. There's amazing doctors, but we also know doctors that have done this.
Yeah. And it's the system is, I mean, like what you said earlier, corrupt.
The system is corrupt.
So
this is a win. We'll take a win.
I guess we'll take it.
Since we're talking about PMOS and we do have a lot of people listening that probably either have symptoms of it or have it, should we list some of the guiding symptoms now that they're basing diagnosis off of? I think that'd be helpful for people to hear, because I do think there's probably a handful of people listening that think it's just cysts. I literally thought you had to have cysts before a week ago to actually have it.
I'm sure 90% of the population did. It was in the name.
It's nuts. It was in the name.
Going back to interstitial cystitis, I'm pretty sure it is renamed bladder pain syndrome by now. But
really?
That's another, I'm 90% sure, but linking that back in, I forgot about that. But a lot of people call it IC still.
I don't know.
Anyways,
just started beatboxing.
I know, you're not interested in IC right now. I get it.
Don't. The way I fucking went crazy on that. Okay. PCOS has long been primarily perceived as a gynecological or ovarian disorder. However, mounting research, evidence synthesis, and international guidelines have shown that PCOS is underpinned by endocrine disturbances in insulin, androgens, and neuroendocrine and ovarian hormones. Features can be metabolic, reproductive, psychological, and dermatological. BMI is generally higher in people with PCOS, not that we care about BMI, than those without, and contributes to its severity. PCOS has multi-system health impacts and represents a growing health economic burden. Boom. So if you heard anything in that sounds like something you've been told, but then your doctor says, but you don't have cysts, you might have PMOS. And we're not diagnosing you, of course, but it's another route you could go down, and there might be more reception to you bringing these things to the table.
What a combo.
I mean,
it's
hope
really
you guys, fun, let me tell you.
Can you guys start sending us things when you see it? Like, send it to us, because I hope you guys all saw some kind of slider post, because if you're a pelvic freak, you probably had this on Instagram or whatever. You probably saw this on social media because a lot of people were talking about it. I hope you saw that post and thought, yeah, Amanda and Hannah are definitely going to talk about that one on the next podcast episode.
I hope you did, and you were right.
Good job. And send us more stuff when you discover it.
Technically, it was a week later because there was another episode already filmed, which we hope you guys listened to that. We spoke with the vagina rehab doctor last week, and it was such an incredible chat about virtual pelvic floor therapy. So you should go listen to that if you haven't.
And if any of you related to that and you were like, actually, I think I'd benefit from virtual pelvic health therapy. You have 2 virtual pelvic health therapists right here. Just saying.
You do.
So,
and we're taking new patients for it.
We are taking new patients.
Woo. That's pretty much it, right?
I think that's pretty much it.
Thank God. I'm tired.
I think we should go to bed now, right?
Guys, please help us out by rating this episode 5 stars, leaving a comment, sharing it with a friend that you think it could help, or you just want to yap about it with, and help us get more freaks in our corner because we love y'all.
I'm realizing I forgot our red squatty potty to display in our office.
I thought about it yesterday because I left it at the clinic.
Yeah.
We'll bring it.
Yeah, we'll bring it.
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry, guys.
Don't worry, guys. It'll be here. Maybe it'll go in this corner or something because this will be wall.
Next to the Diet Coke fridge.
Yeah, that could be cute.
We're going to have our pink fridge only with Diet Cokes. Our favorite bladder irritant aside from dirty martinis.
Yes, we love our bladder irritants. And I love chocolate.
Okay.
Just saying.
I don't have any.
Sucks. You had some the other day.
I might have some, actually.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, we love you. Bye.
Bye, pelvic freaks.
Bye, pelvic freaks.